Welcome back to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we love sharing exciting news. And in this case, we're talking all about Memphis International Airport, the concourse modernization. We're here with Glen Thomas. He is the Director of Strategic Marketing and Communications, the PIO with Memphis-Shelby County Airport Authority, obviously Memphis International Airport. Glen, how are you doing?
Doing great. We're very excited to finally have the concourse open. You see the photo behind me was taken before we were open, and it's definitely a much busier scene right now.
Absolutely. So it is a job well done for sure. We've had a chance to go through and tour it ourselves and do a virtual tour and everything, but it is absolutely amazing. And before we dive into all the new amenities and the expansion and the lighting and everything, give us a little bit of the backstory, because obviously this is years in the making. So let's go ahead and back up. Give us a little bit of history leading up to this modernization.
Well, really, the catalyst for the modernization was the dehubbing by Delta. You know, we had one airline, Delta, dominated the B concourse. The other airlines operated out of A and C. When they removed those hub operations, we were in a situation where the airlines were spread out across three concourses, restaurants and retail. They were no longer exposed to, that passenger flow that they had been before. So we really had to change the structure of the airport, change the look, change the feel in order to accommodate our new status as an origin and destination airport.
Walk us through the planning, because, you look at the modernization, we have a chance to see that, but it's a piece of a bigger equation. When you look at even like retrofitting for earthquakes, and like there's a lot that went into this to be able to ultimately bring the concourse to fruition. Walk us through kind of the planning and the budgeting, because even the budgeting is a really cool thing in the sense that there's no tax dollars that were used for this. So talk about, once again, kind of leading into this.
Correct. And when we began looking at the possibility of doing this project, we first were looking at adding on to the existing building. And what we found was most of that investment was going to go underneath the gates as far as seismic improvements and those type of construction improvements. But it made more sense for us eventually to close B, operate on A and C, and then just work on B until it was completed. So yeah, a lot went into it. That $245 million price tag is an all-in figure that includes the ancillary projects on A and C to accommodate the move to B, as well as all new jet bridges and all of the things associated with opening this new concourse.
So let's go ahead and dive in and talk about this new concourse. And absolutely amazing, as I mentioned. I think it's going to completely transform not only for us locals, but all the visitors coming to Memphis. This is their first step into our city. And so for them, they are going to be blown away in an amazing way of just seeing the artwork and the lighting and just the space. And you've got chargers at every seat now. It's really cool. So kind of in a teaser, describe overall the experience, and then we'll dive into some of the little details.
Well, as you can see from my background, it's a dramatic difference from the previous airport. We've got much higher ceilings. There's a lot more room to move. There's much more light. And with that light, all of the colors of the artwork and our various digital displays, everything really pops out. So it's visually stunning. Operationally, it's more convenient. And of course, we have amenities for the modern traveler. The old concourse is 50 plus years old. So you didn't need a charger at every seat then, but we do now, and we've got that.
Yeah, the chargers at every seat, you literally sit down, and then on the side, you can do just set your phone down on top of it, or you've got the USB ports below. So share, just kind of the cool little tech side of that.
Yeah, so every seat is equipped with not only a cup holder, but you have cordless charging capabilities. As you mentioned, USB, you've got an outlet as well. So however you need to charge your device, or for whatever reason you might need to power up, you can do it at those seats. And also we have a lot of desk areas, seating areas where people can get on their laptops. Was down in the concourse yesterday and noticed that people utilize those a lot. So people are really getting some use out of that.
Talk about the lighting, because really cool lighting dynamic in the sense that you look over on one side and it's kind of shaded and then it's clear on the other, and it's all based on the sun. Talk about that neat aspect that's tied to a local vendor.
Yeah, this is a South Haven based company, View. They make a technology called smart glass, and essentially it tints the windows with a degree of sunlight. So the more the sunlight is shining on one side of the building, the darker you'll see that glass. And it can be quite striking because on the left, you'll see a very darkened tint, and on the right, it'll be perfectly clear. But it just adds to the degree of comfort for our passengers and allows them to be a little more comfortable at the gate.
One of the things that's really neat is the artwork. You have a ton of artwork, and it's all tied locally, whether it's local artists who lived or worked in Memphis. Talk about the artwork and the collaboration to have all the artwork there at Memphis International Airport.
Well, we partnered with the Urban Art Commission. We formed an art committee made up of many artists from across the city, as well as some of our members of our board, and a couple of us on at the airport as well. And we ended up selecting 60 plus artists for various works. All of them have a connection to Memphis, whether they're in Memphis right now or they used to work in Memphis. It's something we're extremely proud of, a very diverse group of artists. And that's something that we're really trying to drive home here with the new concourse. Previously, I think our identity was tied to being a hub for Delta. And when we became an origin and destination airport, it was really time to revisit that. And you see all these Memphis references here. We've got Memphis artists, we've got the Grizzlies represented, Memphis Made Brewing has an establishment. So we're leaning heavy into our culture. We want we want the airport to reflect our culture, and not just our entertainment and barbecue that we're known for, but all things that make our city great and things that some people may not be aware of.
I definitely want to touch on the restaurants and the retail, because there's so many new exciting opportunities there. But I do want to touch on, because behind you, for those who are seeing it online, the picture, you've got intertwining. And so Yancy Villacavo, we've had her on Changemakers, but just talking about the creation of this art piece that hangs above your head, and you get to look up, and it's all these beautiful colors intertwined that shows the fabric of our community and the diversity of our community. Talk about that as kind of a striking entrance or exit for those who are going elsewhere, but a striking way to create this experience in a very colorful way.
Well, that's one of the things, and I can remember as a member of the art committee, when we received this submission, there was a rendering that showed it at night, as you would see it if you came in on the aircraft and you were getting off at a gate outside the sculpture. And the way the colors reflected it really stood out. And it's probably the most memorable thing of all the applications, of all the art pieces that were submitted to us. So it really stood out, and the end result is even better than a rendering could ever bring forth. And I think looking at it, whether it's day or night, those colors reflecting, it's just a tremendous piece and a great welcome for people who are coming into those gates.
You mentioned Memphis Made, and the Grizzlies have a grill. So talk about the restaurants, and you've got Lenny's. I mean, you got a lot of really cool new restaurant food and beverage opportunities, including the local beers and everything.
Yeah, and that's very exciting. At the grand opening, we had representatives from all three of those that you just mentioned. We had a group from Memphis Made. We had the Grizzlies were out here. The owner of Lenny's was out here, and everybody was just thrilled to be a part of this and to have a presence here. And we're really happy, really excited to be able to bring that to our passengers, to maybe introduce these concepts to people who are not from Memphis, and for people who are from Memphis and love these concepts, they've got a presence here.
You also have an area for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital for their children and families. You have areas, obviously, for our veterans and active duty personnel for the military. You've got a business lounge, a child's play area, even a stage for live music. So talk about some of these other really cool elements that are not just attractions, but obviously opportunities for people to engage at a high level.
Yeah, we've got so many new things. So if you were a frequent traveler 5 years ago, there's so much that's going to be new to you. As you mentioned, we'll now have a lounge for St. Jude patients and their families. That's going to be staffed by St. Jude. Not quite ready yet, but we're hoping next month that it will be open. Obviously, that's going to be great for welcoming those families. A children's play area where kids can blow off some steam. We've got a lot of new retail concepts as well. Our distillery district will offer a lot of local gourmet foods, and also local spirits from Tennessee distilleries and our own Old Dominic as well.
And then you also too have an area for the loved ones, the furry loved ones, the animals. So you have a private little area that the animals can go to.
We do. We know a lot of people have service animals. Of course, we've got our own canine units out at the airport, and sometimes they need to go relieve themselves, and we have a pet relief area specifically for that.
And then talk about the big picture, because it's a huge opportunity all of us get a chance to see and experience as travelers, but it's a piece of a larger equation. And so when you look at already what's next, there is a grand vision for what's next. Talk about some of the what's next moments.
Right. Well, certainly there's always construction going on at airports, and so many airports like ours were built decades ago. You can't rebuild those overnight. You've got to keep moving. You've got to keep your operations going every day. Also, these are costly projects, so we have to space them out. But yes, the next steps, we need to modernize baggage. We need to modernize ticketing, create more space, and expand our security checkpoint as well. So those are going to be in the works. We recently completed a master plan, which kind of lays out our long-term construction projects. We need to figure out what to do with the A and C concourses, and that master plan is taking us in that direction, repurposing those areas. But probably the most immediate project would be the modernization of the baggage and ticketing. Short-term, passengers will see a little bit of construction in the coming weeks as we get rid of a couple of conference rooms in A and C. That's really to make way for Spirit when they begin operations. They're going to be their ticketing area is going to create some moving around of airlines, and we just need more space in the ticketing area.
Give us some of the main things you want all the travelers, the passengers to know. And I'm thinking, things like MemPerks, and you've got the parking, obviously, as you mentioned, the ticketing and all of that will remain the same. Security will remain the same. Now, all of a sudden, you've got obviously this beautiful new concourse that we have a chance to enjoy. What are some of the main things that you want all the travelers to know?
Well, I think people are going to find that the new concourse really increases convenience. We're not referring it to the B concourse anymore because it's the concourse. All of our airlines are operating out of that concourse, and all retail and restaurant. So it's beneficial for the passengers because they have a lot more choices in front of them. Better for the retailers and the restaurants because they've got the steady flow of all the passengers. In terms of our parking and things like that, we do have a free frequent parker program, MemPerks. You can go to our website and find out more about that. Again, when we're coming up on the spring break holiday right now, this is a pretty low volume month, all things considered, in the aviation industry. But come March, we're going to get a lot busier. We still advise get there 2 hours before your flight. And get there a little early to check out the new concourse. I think people are going to enjoy that. So maybe they won't mind getting there 2 or 2.5 hours early so they can check things out.
Absolutely. You have a great website that shows all the different flight options and flights that you can't find anywhere else in terms of going to some of the other aggregators. So talk about the website and where we can go to learn more and see how we can take advantage of all these new opportunities with Memphis International Airport.
Well, we did launch a redesigned website last year. We brought it in-house, made it more mobile friendly, and probably the most notable thing is that we added a 3D map feature, which really includes wayfinding and additional information. So much more user-friendly than the previous website. As you mentioned, every nonstop option out of Memphis can be found on our website. So it's a great reference. If you want to learn more about the modernization project, we've got descriptions of all of our restaurants, menus, where everything is, current airline gates, things like that, because I know some people may not be familiar when they walk into this new concourse.
And that website is flymemphis.com. So you make it easy, flymemphis.com. Well, Glen, thank you for all you do. Greatly appreciate it. And congratulations on the concourse modernization. It is absolutely beautiful. And I highly encourage everyone to book a flight and go enjoy the new concourse. So absolutely amazing. But Glen, thank you for all you do. Thank you for being City Current partners as well and helping us power the good. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeremy.